Greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the end of the night shift week. How you doing? Let me tell you, today has been a day plus tax. Today felt like it was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. In fact, today feels like the week should be done. Anything after today is a new week. Happy hump day to each and every one of you locked in right now. Those who are locked in on Reggae Global Radio. Welcome. Those on PEMG TV, all those on the affiliate stations all over the globe, welcome, glad to have you. And of course, right here at the home of the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, where we are encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment, right here on kevinstew.com. Welcome. So glad to have you. I couldn't do it without you, and guess what? You have my word. I wouldn't even try.
Y'all if you're ready, let me know. No set a long talking where you for. Wine to the ground, y'all drop to the floor. Woyo. Well, if you're ready, let we go. Start up the countdown time.
Kicking it off with the sound of 5-star Akil.
No, I think anything now. Don't take it personal.
It's called Personal.
It's just a one night job. Don't make it personal. No. I hope you understand. Don't take it personal. It's just a one night job, just get to work, my girl. Don't make it personal. Way you action, thunder. The way you move your body make me wonder. Show me that you wanna take it all the way. Oh yeah, don't play, run down. You know you can get it if you want that. Girl, if you're ready, drop it down for me. So if you're ready, let me know. No set a long talking where you for. Wine to the ground, y'all drop to the floor. Woyo. Well, if you're ready, let me go. Start up the countdown time for the show. You guys where you want, take one for the road. No, I think anything now. Don't take it personal. It's just a one night jam. Don't make it personal. No. I hope you understand. Don't take it personal. It's just a one night jam. Just get to work, my girl. Don't make it personal. Come put that work on it. Come put that work on it. We only need one night. Come put that work on it. Come put that work on it. Just show me what you like. Let me see you do it like you mean it. We don't even gotta catch feeling. Everybody need a little company. Sometimes we just gotta keep it on the down low. Love it when you move it in slow-mo. Why you playing shy, girl? Come to me. So if you're ready, let me go. No set a long talking where you for. Wine to the ground, y'all drop to the floor. Woyo. Well, if you're ready, let me go. Start up the countdown time for the show. If guys where you want, take one for the road. No, I think anything now. Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
A one night jam. Don't make it personal.
Yeah, we need to remember that every now and then.
Personal. It's just a one night
You know, one of the 4 agreements, or should I say one of the 5 agreements,
personal. Come put that work
don't take it personal.
on it. We only need one night. Come put that work on it. Come put that work on
I
it.
want to say hi, greetings, how you doing to those joining us on Facebook Live.
Take one for the road. No, I think anything now. Don't take it personal. It's just a
And
one
a special thanks to Pulsey Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show.
I hope you
When being in the moment is priceless, get them a link. Innovative streaming and recording solutions for you.
don't make
Not only that though, they can host your website, they can create your website.
that work on it.
If you are in the market for an internet broadcasting TV station,
No, overthink everything now.
They can hook you up.
Personal. It's just a one night.
Give them a call 754-999-6020 or visit them at pulseemg.com. You have a church, a school,
A one night job. Just get to work.
a conference you want to stream live on a secure platform.
Come put that work on it.
Link them, say, hey, listen, I heard about you on kevinstew.com. I heard about you on the night shift. I heard about you on Reggae Global Radio. What can you do for me? Woyo. The sound of 5-star Akil. It's called Personal. And tonight we're going to take it a little bit and get a little bit personal. But which of the personalities we're going to connect with tonight, I'm not too sure. Right now, you have the more subdued Kevin Stew. Things might change a little bit later. But right now you have the subdued Kevin Stew. Tonight we're looking at borderline personality disorders. And you might be wondering, no, Stew, why? Why not? The amount of things that are happening in our community right now, why not? Do we know what borderline personality disorders are? Do we know how what it is, how it affects people, the ones who are going through it, the ones who have to live with an individual that is going through it? You know, in these times of quarantines and homeschooling and job loss, you know, could something like this have an effect? Or could that have an effect on something like this? You know, so these are the things that we're going to try to take a sneak peek at tonight. And I want to say big ups to those who have already jumped into the stew pot. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Those of you wondering what the stew pot is, because you're new, that's okay. The stew pot is an interactive portal on kevinstew.com. Others call it a chat room, but we're fancy over here. We call it the stew pot. It's where we keep things bubbling and interactive. So come on in, the water is always fine. And we only ask that you keep things respectful. You know, just be mindful of others with your comments, and understand all comments are welcome as long as you keep it clean. We want it to keep it clean. But this is also a place where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment. This is where we gain an understanding. It's not where we say I am right, or we point out that everybody else is wrong. Yeah, it's kind of two different things. So, borderline personality disorders. Do you know what it is? It is an illness marked by an ongoing pattern of varying moods, of a varying self-image, of a varying behavior. These symptoms often result in impulsive actions and problems in relationships. People with borderline personality disorder may experience intense episodes of anger, depression, and anxiety that can result, or that can last from anywhere between a few hours to days. So that's a general overview of what borderline personality disorder is. And courtesy of the National Institute of Mental Health. So what are some of the signs? How do we identify this? So, you know, when someone is having, or someone has this condition, what does that look like? Typically, People with borderline personality disorder may experience mood swings and display uncertainty about how they see themselves and their role in the world. As a result, their interests and values can change quickly. You know, people talk about individuals being hot and cold and just going whichever way the wind blows. This might be the case. They might be suffering from borderline personality disorders. Or not orders, but a borderline personality disorder. Hey Marlon, welcome to the Stew Pot. People with this disorder also tend to view things in extremes, such as either it's all good or it's all bad. That area where things are okay, yeah, that doesn't exist. The opinions of other people can also change quickly. An individual who is seen as a friend one day may be considered an enemy or a traitor the next. These shifting feelings can lead to intense and unstable relationships. Other signs and or symptoms may include efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, such as rapidly initiating intimate or physical or emotional intimate relationships, or cutting off communication with someone in anticipation of being abandoned, or a pattern of intense and unstable relationships with family, friends, and loved ones, often swinging from extreme closeness and love, being idealization, to extreme dislike or anger, the devaluation. There is distorted and unstable self-image or sense of self that also comes into play. Impulsive and often dangerous behaviors such as spending sprees, unsafe sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, and binge eating. Yes, binge eating. Now, if these behaviors occur primarily during a period of elevated mood or energy, they may be signs of a mood disorder, not necessarily a borderline personality disorder. So you might want to watch out for things like that. And these are some of the things that are observed in the process of a diagnosis. There is self-harming behavior such as cutting that takes place, recurring thoughts of suicidal behaviors or threats, intense or highly changeable moods with each episode lasting from a few hours to a few days, chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate, intense anger or problems controlling anger, difficulty trusting, which is sometimes accompanied by irrational fear of other people's intentions. That's a real thing though, isn't it? Everybody is kind of weary of what other people are going to do. Do they mean me well? Are they out to get me? That kind of a thing. There is feelings of dissociation, such as feeling cut off from oneself or seeing oneself from outside one's body, or feelings of unreality. Now, you combine that with what is going on right now, and you wonder what you're going to end up with. Not everyone with borderline personality disorder experiences every symptom, though, which is really a good thing. Some individuals experience only a few symptoms, while others have many. Symptoms can be triggered by seemingly ordinary events. Like people with borderline personality disorder may become angry and distressed over minor separations from people to whom they feel close, such as traveling on a business trip. That can trigger it. Now, the severity and frequency of symptoms and how long they last, those now vary depending on the individual and the illness. So you might want to watch out for things like that. Hey, Nikki, how are you doing? How are my kids? Glad you could tune in. Listen, don't get too comfortable on Facebook. Jump on over to kevinstew.com because the Facebook Live thing is only temporary. Last night they told me that I can't share because they're protecting me from violating. I don't know what I'm violating since I don't often share. But, you know, it's their thing. They do their thing, and I just ride on it for a little while. That is why I have my thing. Yeah, cool. So there are some risk factors that come into play when looking into borderline personality disorder. The cause of borderline personality disorder is not clear. Not yet. But research suggests that genetics, brain structure and function, and environmental, cultural, and social factors all play a role or may increase the risk of developing borderline personality disorder. So it is not to say that if you don't have it, you won't have it. No. Changing times can change your condition. With people who have a close family member, such as a parent or sibling with the disorder, may be at a higher risk of developing borderline personality disorder. So those really close family members. Studies also show that people with borderline personality disorder can have structural and functional changes in the brain, especially in areas that control impulses and emotional regulation. But it is still not clear whether these changes are risk factors for the disorder or caused by the disorder. You know, you don't know which one came first, the chicken or the egg. So scientists are still working on that one. Then you have your environmental, cultural, and social factors. Many people with borderline personality disorder report experiencing traumatic life events such as abuse, abandonment, or adversity during childhood. Others may have been exposed to unstable, invalidating relationships or hostile conflicts. You look at what is happening in our society today. Think of our children. They stand, in my opinion, a higher chance of developing borderline personality disorder in the next 5 years. Again, I'm just a DJ, not a DR, but looking at the information that we've touched on thus far, you can see where we could be going in that direction. We have black and brown children being targeted. So we have the racial divide, we have the cultural divides, we have, because you have America blaming China for COVID and Europe and fingers pointing all over the place when they were all in bed together looking at the science behind it all. So where did we start pointing fingers? So all these things could actually play a factor in someone developing borderline personality disorder. And based on that alone, I'm even more fearful for our children. But not just them. What about our adults? Because here you are running a business, and you have been successful in your business for the past umpteen years, only for COVID to roll in and everything. Did I say everything? Everything gets flipped upside down. Now, this business that was your lucrative business is now a liquid business. And yeah, you're thinking about what is going to happen come Christmas because you've had to pay out all this money. Now you are considering bankruptcy. Your children that only know one type of lifestyle are now going to have to change it up. That can be quite traumatic for some people. Those who invested heavily in the stock market, boom, stock market crashed. All the stocks went. Now, for those who are thinking of getting into stocks, this is a good time for them. They can get in at they can buy low and wait until it goes up and they sell high. That's the order of the day when it comes to stocks. But those who were riding on that high and lost out, you have to watch them. What kind of condition now are these individuals in? What kind of life are they living? Hey Sylvia, how you doing? I know these are things that you, Sylvia, have thought about and talked about on a number of occasions. And, these are the things that we really have to worry about in the midst of the corona talk. And we're not talking about the beer. When looking at relationships, they say, according to Psychology Today, that relationship troubles start early in borderline personality. They did a study that shows first impressions falter for those with borderline personality. And you might remember some time ago, I did a show on just that, the first impressions and how accurate they are. And when it comes to borderline personality, now it gets a little bit tricky because there are some that now won't trust themselves when making that judgment. That gut feeling that they have now, they don't trust that gut feeling. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust you. Who has been there for them and with them as they went through whatever for the last 20 years. All of a sudden, you are out to get them. Hey, cuz, welcome to the... glad you could join in the pot. How is Jamaica? What? Okay. How are things in Jamaica and how are the people that you know in Jamaica? Is everybody still just cool? One of the phrases that became popular coming out of Jamaica was "no problem," because of the perceived laid back way the Jamaicans tend to be. All right, so gas price gone up. Okay, we still need to go down the street to get to work or to get to school. What are we gonna do? We just have to go with it. So let's go with it. And that would have been the perceived mentality. But understand, yeah, Erica, the struggle is real. no matter where you are. So as although we would we would put on this persona, this take on this role of, taking it easy and just riding the wave. It's just being mindful that, listen, tomorrow is another day. We made it through this one, we can make it through that one too. Let's go. But it's not that easy for some. And the struggle is a real struggle. And for those that have that parent, that sibling with borderline personality disorder, for no fault of their own, they're learning to swim, they fell into the deep end of the pool and it was traumatic for them. And that triggered something. Remember now, it is not known how this condition comes about. So the people that you consider quote unquote normal and have called normal for however many years you might have known them or you might know them, that all of a sudden acts different, you might need to ask some questions. What's going on? When did this start? Why did this start? And watch it to see how long it goes on. Because again, it may last for hours. And then people would just say, oh, it's just mood swings. Or it might last for days. And when this happens with women, you ever realize something like this could happen with a woman, and the first thing us men would say is, boy, it's that time of the month, huh? Not really thinking that it could be something more. What's even worse is when our male friends are experiencing something like this, that we say to them, it's your time of the month, huh? A little bit insensitive on our side, maybe. Could be. But all in all, as anything, as it relates to mental health, we need to take just a few moments and say, could there be something more? So for tonight, we're exploring the world of borderline personality disorder. And basically, we just took a look at what it is, how it is defined, and some of the signs and symptoms. We're going to look at BPD and relationships when we come back from the break. I want to encourage you to call a friend, tell a friend, tell an enemy. If you leave, come back with someone. So those of you on Facebook Live, jump on over to kevinstew.com. The link is right there in the description. You don't even have to go anywhere. Just click on it, click, and boom, you're there. Nothing to register for, nothing to sign up for. You're in the stew pot. It's a judgment-free zone. So bring your feedback. Let's talk. kevinstew.com. And you can even call. You can text 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your experiences. I want to hear your theories, your hypotheses. You may not be a DR or a DJ, but you have an opinion. Or you have an experience. And there's something that we can get from that. So, come on over. kevinstew.com. Reggae Global Radio. PEMG TV. All these options are available. But definitely kevinstew.com in the chat room. In the stew pot. Come on in. Facebook Live. Cheryl, welcome. How are you? Come on over to kevinstew.com. The discussion continues there. We'll be right back. Oh, it would help if I actually you just got to love these things. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
I'm Khalid Thompson.
I'm David Muir.
And we are the co-founders of a cultural nonprofit in Florida called Island Space.
For many reasons, now more than ever, we need the support of our communities.
As Caribbean Americans, we have the unique ability to claim everyone from the island as members of our Caribbean American family.
We are working to create a home for that family.
The Island Archives will become an internationally recognized museum of history.
Visitors can learn that although we are unique, we are truly stronger together.
Learn more at islandspacefl.org.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This nonprofit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or 415,000 US dollars.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. We simply represent word and honor. Still I say you will pay the speech.
even scared of views, telling you the truth. For that proof, check your ruthless. Engage your youth, removing the root of human. 99% of leaders and teachers are useless. I don't care what I've been told. Outside the carnival, reflect the times of old. Outlive a blinded soul, fat cats with rhymes I scope. Tech firms piggybacking on babies, mine and gold.
There's a whole heap of love, I got a whole heap of love. There's a whole heap of love, be strong.
Let me tell you, there's a whole heap of love, I got a whole heap of love. You better trust me, brother, come on. Listen to me, once loud, proud, now we got this aerial view. So when you're telling your crew, be prepared not to be scared of scaring a few. Loving humanity, whatever you do, cause I am human, and you are too. Come on. You are too. Clap your hands together, get it together, come on, baby. I love you.
You belong, stand for the right and not the wrong. See, everybody have to get along, sing the song, stay strong. You go the head of the road long. See, everybody have to get along. Alright, when they stand for the wrong and not the right. See, I forgive them love tonight. Long sight soon come, them a step into the light. We have to give them love tonight.
The sound of Carpet Face working out with Jimmy Lyons. The track is called Human. I want to say thanks to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands for sponsoring this segment of the broadcast. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you with 20 years of experience and COVID-free. She'd like to leave a little bit more experienced and still COVID-free. Outside of paying her, her only request is that you get her off her table when she's done, go sleep somewhere else. Give her a call, 954-655-9000. Email her at thealater@att.net. It's an excellent gift for someone. If you can't have it for yourself, if you're flying into Fort Lauderdale, into Davie, coming to South Florida somewhere, yeah, you definitely want to check her out. See what she can do for you, see what she can do for your family members, you know, give her a call, see how she can hook you up, because in these times of high stress, a good massage, you never know how far it will get you. I know it has helped me, no doubt. It has helped me. As a matter of fact, if I could get one right now, let me tell you. I didn't get mine last week. Well, it has been 2 weeks now because of various things happening. I'm lining up myself for this week. Lining it up. So Althea, Miss Althea, squeeze me in, pencil me in, please. I beg you. Alright, so talking about borderline personality disorder tonight. Now, we looked at some of the basic information relating to borderline personality disorder. And I want to give out the number again that you can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839. Just jump on into the stew pot, give your comments there also. Oliver, big ups to you, bro. Welcome. Happy belated Earth dates to you. So we're looking at borderline personality disorders. Call a friend, tell a friend, jump on over. Come on. Those of you who are overseas, by the way, you can also Skype in and share. Kevin.stew is a Skype handle. You know, so if you can't call, you can't WhatsApp, you can't text, you can't jump into the stew pot, you can't comment on in Reggae Global Radio, you can always go there. Skype. All right? Cool. Difficult relationships with others create significant stress for individuals with borderline personality. Stress that can continue throughout their adult lives. According to Psychology Today, if you know someone with this personality disorder, then you're aware of how hard it can be to manage your ordinary interactions with them. That's if you know they have it. And it's probably worse. It's probably harder if you don't know that they have it. They say ignorance is bliss, but in a case like this, I don't know. Ignorance brings blisters. You might make a seemingly innocent comment, or only to have this individual explode in a torrent of verbal abuse. Eventually, these situations are so painful that you might decide to avoid contact with this person altogether. I know some people like that, and you know, I think that's just their personality. Now, if this negativity that can become the central feature of borderline personality disorder, BPD, it is this. You know, not just the long term, but in the first few moments of new relationships. You know, last week we mentioned the new relationship energy and how that can be. Here it is, this new relationship energy and borderline personality disorders. How, you know, that can be pretty disastrous. Heidelberg University's Joanna Pep and Pascal J. Kieslik note that the interpersonal dysfunction of people with BPD manifests itself in a multitude of ways, including poor romantic relationship quality, higher levels of loneliness, and social networks that are characterized by low support and high levels of conflict. Indeed, if your negative interactions involving someone with BPD occur in a relationship you can't easily end, such as in-laws or co-workers, then you know for a fact you're in for a rough ride when it comes to your own psychological well-being. Because that's the other side of it that often gets left out of the mix. You looking on, you interacting with someone who is going through this. What kind of condition are you in? The presumed normal one. Now, although you might figure that the interpersonal problems of people with BPD don't emerge until well into a relationship, Hep and Kieslik propose that the fault lines begin to develop in the earliest moments of contact, or first impressions. People with BPD, the authors maintain, are constantly on the lookout for negative signals from the people they meet. Their negativity in judging others could help account, in part, for the small and conflictual social networks observed in this population. Conversely, people with BPD themselves may be judged more negatively by people they first meet. This perceived negativity leads non-BPD individuals to stay away from what they sense can become potential trouble. Oh, maybe that's why I haven't heard back from those people. Now, unfortunately, by turning away, they only confirm the negative expectations of people with BPD, further compromising the worldview of the person with this disorder. Imagine someone in politics suffering from BPD. That's a scary thought. Recall your first impression, your own first impression of that individual, that coworker, that in-law. Something seemed off. And you immediately sense that this is a person who could create trouble for you. Perhaps it was a lack of eye contact on the expression or their expression on the person's face. You decided that although you will work with this situation, work with this person, or attend the same family functions, well, you'll just keep them at a distance. You won't go out of your way to be friends with this person. To create a scenario in which they could study first impressions, the German researchers used what they call the thin slices paradigm. Participants rate a short excerpt of behavior, either from a photo or a video clip, along a set of personality trait dimensions. And in previous research using this method, people with BPD were rated by observers to more negatively than healthy controls, the HCs, on a variety of traits, ranging from being less trustworthy, less likable, less agreeable, less extroverted, less conscientious, less open, and even having less joy. Other studies have shown that BPD individuals also are more negative in their evaluations of others. However, no previous studies have investigated both aspects of first impressions in the same study. So, to investigate how BPD individuals are perceived, the authors recruited an all-female sample of raters consisting of 40 women with bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, 29 with social anxiety disorder, and 37 with no prior psychiatric diagnoses. Those are considered the healthy controls, the HCs. The target participants, those with whose thin slices were rated, consisted of 26 individuals with BPD and 26 without, of whom 46% were male. The average age of participants was approximately 30 years, ranging from 18 to about 50 years old. Now, to obtain the thin slices materials, the research team filmed participants while they briefly named their favorite meal, color, hobby, book, movie, animal, car, and holiday destination, all relatively innocuous subjects. The videos were about 30 seconds long. In a second experimental task, participants played a simulated economics game, testing their cooperativeness in the form of willingness to share a monetary reward. This method provided an actual measure of how cooperative people were, which could be then compared to how cooperative the raters believed them to be on the basis of the thin slices video. Now again, this is a thin slice, so it's pretty quick. To give yourself an idea of what you'd do if you were in this study, go ahead and ask yourself how you rate people you first meet after only saying your initial hellos. When was the last time you met someone for the first time? What snap judgments did you form? What leads you to want to talk to a person at greater length, and what leads you to walk away? You might have some idea of how this works in the virtual world by considering what you do either on dating apps or while scrolling through new requests from people in your social media feed. I know I do it. Don't judge me. So, whose do you pause on and whose do you delete? According to the German authors, these first impressions will be determined in part by whether you sense that they have borderline personality disorder. How interesting is that? Now, similarly, when you are being judged by others, how do you think your own cues come across? As a matter of fact, if there are any new listeners or any new viewers to this broadcast, what's your thought? And again, this is a judgment-free zone, so let me hear what you think. Now, with this background, you should be able to relate now to the findings of the Heidelberg University study. Looking first at how the BPD raters evaluated targets, as predicted, those with BPD were more negative than the healthy controls, though no different in their negativity ratings than those with SAD. And it's kind of unfortunate that social anxiety disorder is just that, SAD. SAD. The BPD raters also were less likely to want to interact with new targets than the HCs, but no different again from the SAD raters. So social anxiety disorders and borderline personality disorders individuals tend to rate similarly, apparently. There were no group differences in the ratings of all of the three types of participants for cooperativeness in the economic game simulation. When it came to ratings of the BPD people versus the HC targets by raters, those thin slices revealed a negative bias towards the participants with borderline personality disorders. A bias that extended to a negative bias toward lower cooperativeness on the economic game. HCs also rated themselves as less similar to the BPD targets than they did to the other categories of targets. Finally, taking advantage of the dual nature of the study's design, in which people served both as targets and raters, the authors examined how BPD raters would evaluate BPD targets compared to the other targets. As it turned out, borderline personality disorder raters didn't distinguish at all among any of the target groups, rating all of them equally negatively. Now, this finding emerged on measures of trustworthiness, approach, cooperativeness, and similarity. No matter what the rating category, BPD raters came down equally harshly on all the targets they evaluated. So, for them, everybody is negative. Now, from a standpoint of interpersonal attraction theories, the findings regarding the similarity effect were particularly interesting. Ordinarily, people tend to perceive positively the people they regard as similar to themselves. This generally, though, did not apply to the BPD individuals who showed no such similarity bias. As the authors concluded, the lack of perceived similarity that borderline personality disorder raters indicated reflects the identity disturbance that is part of the BPD syndrome. It it is conceivable that BPD raters did not have the impression that someone else is like them, because it was not clear to them what they themselves are like. As the authors predicted, people with BPD tend to approach and be approached in terms of negative first impressions. Now, unfortunately, there is probably little that they can do to appear more cooperative or trustworthy. But the situation isn't hopeless. By tending to the way they perceive others, the impressions people with BPD make could potentially be improved. That's the theory. That's the hypothesis. Now, further to this, as the authors suggest, by tuning into the qualities they do share with others, such as interests or preferences, the more positively they might approach the new people they meet. Returning to the example of your in-laws or your co-workers, you may not have the most favorable impression of that person. But if that individual reaches out to try to connect with you in terms of finding some type of similarity, some tentative basis for a relationship could actually be made. Isn't that awesome? Now, just to sum it up before we take another break, the complex factors that create interpersonal difficulties for people with borderline personality disorder may not respond to one simple fix. However, some of those problems may be headed off by starting with the moment in which first impressions are formed and then building from there. So it's not a lost cause. It is not a case where an individual with borderline personality disorder needs to always be kept at bay and you can't form a meaningful, lasting relationship with them. No. And it's not to say that they can't form one with you. It is just that we need to understand what is going on with them. And, well, what seems to be more difficult, as according to the scientists, is them realizing what is going on with themselves. That can be pretty rough. And understandably so. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to look at individuals with borderline personality disorder as they're impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. And some of the information here might be quite shocking. It may not. We'll see. We'll be right back after these few messages. Call a friend, tell a friend, we're still here. We still want to hear from you. When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is working to help keep you and your community safe from the threat of novel or new coronavirus. Take the following everyday steps to help avoid the spread of all respiratory viruses. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue. Throw the tissue away and then wash your hands. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects or surfaces, such as remote controls and doorknobs. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. And stay home if you are sick. Call your healthcare provider if you develop fever, cough, or difficulty breathing. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
This is Gia Yee, and you're listening to The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
No emoji found. No emoji found. If things are sad, there's crying eyes that I can choose. When I'm mad, a mean orange face that I can use. And if it's cool, I throw some shades upon a face. And if surprise, there's big white eyes to put in place. A happy day could be a rainbow or a grin. It just depends on how I feel that day within. But when it comes to you, my thumbs can't sum. There's no emoji to be found for how I feel when you're around. Because you took my emojis and wound them up. Because you took my emojis and bound them up. Because you took my emojis and mashed them up. And I'm not sure how I
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. The sound of GAE, it's called No Emoji. I want to say thanks to my segment sponsor for this segment, Reggae Global Entertainment. Reggae Global will provide services as your booking agent, handling your tour management, taking care of your press releases, graphic designs, trademarks, business registrations, legal service referrals, music production, marketing and promotion, and so much more. Give them a call, 954-998-8034, or link them at reggaeglobalentertainment.com. Those of you on Reggae Global Radio, you don't have very far to go. Just get in touch, contact someone, yeah? Say you heard about them on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Alright, so thank you, GAE. Thank you for that track. No Emoji. So, looking at how borderline personality disorder is affected by this whole COVID situation. And based on the information that we've gotten so far, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary for those that suffer from the condition. The coronavirus disease, COVID-19, more specifically, is a global public health emergency. Along with this outbreak is a parallel pandemic of fear, anxiety, and depression. The virus does not only affect physical health, but also emotional well-being of all mankind, bringing substantial psychological impact on every member of the society. Not a few, every. And during this unprecedented outbreak, necessary measures had been taken to contain the virus transmission by mass indoor quarantine and social distancing. In Malaysia, movement control order has been implemented throughout the country as a containment measure battling this pandemic. Many people find their everyday lives irrevocably changed by these restrictive measures, as they find themselves needing to confine at home for a prolonged and unknown amount of time. Despite for safety concern, practicing social distancing and self-quarantine would be distressing for some. And I understand how it can be too. Although these negative feelings and thoughts are universal, the emotionally vulnerable group could be more substantially influenced by their emotional responses. One subgroup of these population is people with borderline personality disorder, where their vulnerability is attributable to the underlying hyper-responsiveness to stress compared with normal individuals or normal controls, depending on how you define normal. Much of the difficulties faced by people with BPD, like affective dysregulation, chronic feeling of emptiness, fear of abandonment, and interpersonal dysfunction, are manifestations of an undetermined mentalizing capacity due to the early emotion neglect by their significant attachment figures and subsequent life adversity. Evidence showed that due to the insecure or disorganized attachment, there is an overactivation of the attachment system, which lead which led to its operation in a heightened sense. In times of global crisis like these, the arousal triggered destabilized their mental stability, which led to disruption in daily functioning. Now, it is bad enough that they're considered to not be as functional as what would be considered a healthy control, the quote unquote normal individuals. Here you have added stress. Not your regular, well, the sun is hot, oh, it's raining, oh, it's flooding outside, my car broke down. No, we're talking about you catch this disease, you can die, kind of a stress. Can you imagine how much more sensitive an individual suffering from borderline personality disorder could be to something like that? We would like to highlight, with the help of psychodynamic therapy session of a client with BPD, the effect of the current Malaysian movement, control restriction, that the effect that it had intensified her feeling of emptiness and aggravated her fear of abandonment. And subsequently, there was also the attempt to offer a formulation about these difficulties based on the mentalizing model of borderline personality disorder. So it goes on in the form of a question and answer. And the therapist asks, "How have you been?" And the client says, "I have been experiencing an actual emotional downfall due to this whole lockdown situation. I am genuinely feeling sad and upset about things. It takes me some time to figure out why I'm feeling so. It is due to the fact that I feel neglected and lonely. Not by my family, because they are constantly around me, but by my friends." The therapist asks, "Can you share with me more about this feeling of being neglected?" And the client says, "It's because my friends don't message me. And I really miss those times of being able to talk to them in person. I know people keep telling me that this is a lockdown, that this lockdown is affecting everyone, and it makes sense why this would happen. But in my opinion, it shouldn't be an excuse for you not to reach out to somebody. We can still call, you can still message me. I don't need a text every day, but if you're going to be like going for weeks without contacting me, then I'll be very concerned of what's stopping you. Unless you've explained to me that you are not used to this kind of communication. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to understand why you're unable to just strike up a conversation with me." You see already what she is going through. The therapist says, "All right, when you mentioned that you feel your friends have abandoned you, did you try to reach out to them?" And the client says, "Yeah, I do. I've been reaching out to them more often than I will normally do because obviously we can't see each other. I tried to strike up a conversation with them. Again, I had to dig deep for topics in order for them to come up with something to reply on." And the therapist asks, "Okay, has this been the case ever since the lockdown started?" Get this. The client says, "Actually, this has always been the case, even before these. I cannot sit quietly with someone because I personally will feel extremely uncomfortable and get very self-conscious at that moment. So I'll probably find ways to keep the conversation going on and not letting it die down. With this lockdown, it has become more intense. It's like getting worse essentially. You see what an individual with borderline personality disorder is going through. And in this case, it is not that it's something new. It's something that has been going on all along, but now there's the added stress of the lockdown. The therapist asks, what is it about the silence that makes you feel uncomfortable? And she says, silence get me very self-conscious. So I'll be panicking and start to overthink. Generally, I will feel very antsy because I assume that silence tends to be that person is annoyed with me, upset with me, or just bored of me. Basically, I just worry that I am not a likable person. Now, to date, there's no empirical study to investigate the emotional responses of individuals with not bipolar. I keep saying bipolar, with borderline personality disorder in times of pandemic outbreak, because this is new in most of our lifetime. There are some that have experienced a pandemic before, but I think the last one on a global scale like this was the Spanish flu. So it's a while back. It's about what, a little bit over 100 years ago. So this is new in our current lifetime. The core deficits of BPD were activated with the escalating feeling of abandonment, worsened by the current need of mass indoor quarantine and social distancing. The spiraling funnel of emptiness and abandonment, the fear of it, could further deepen the negative feeling and thought about oneself and others. As delineated is in the case above, the client with borderline personality disorder was speaking about how indoor quarantine triggered a profound sense of isolation, despite having her family around her. During the session, she verbalized her intensified feelings of emptiness and how she was fearful of being left out by her friends when no one seemed to reach out to her readily. That imagined threat of abandonment thus triggered frantic efforts to avoid these negative feelings, to the extent of contacting her friends more often and deliberately creating topics of conversation. So it's kind of a case of overcompensating. A lot of studies have supported the observation that individuals with BPD are readily perceiving and intensely reacting to any possibility of social rejection. By and large, their inclination to experience and subsequent painful intolerance to aloneness make them hypersensitive to social situations. Coupled with a constant need to get reassurance from others to relieve themselves from having feelings of emptiness. When these attachment needs are not readily fulfilled, the intense level of arousal generated by a hyperactive attachment system will further compromise the less well-developed mentalizing capacity. You see the struggle of an individual with borderline personality disorder. How much it is heightened in a situation like quarantining, And, this makes me now wonder if when the call for quarantine was made, how much consideration was given to those with mental conditions. Because it on a regular day, those suffering from mental illness are forgotten, to sum it up. Unless you are directly related to someone with a mental condition, or you directly work with individuals with mental conditions, people with mental ailments are sometimes just forgotten. So here's a concern, and it's a real concern. I get it that we separate from each other, we social distance, we quarantine. But how does that affect the individual who, on a regular, thinks that they're not liked? On a regular, thinks negative thoughts? Regularly have a heightened sensitivity to individuals relating to them. Now it is compounded by this quarantine. It is compounded by social distancing. So you thought I didn't like you before? And we only sat across from each other. Now we're placed at least 6 feet from each other. You must really think I hate you. But the situation in reality is you have no control over the placement. And the individual feeling that negativity toward them probably has no control over that either. Because it's a condition that, well, not much is really known about it. So how then is it treated? Typically, borderline personality disorder has historically been viewed as difficult to treat. But with newer evidence-based treatment, many people with the disorder experience fewer or less severe symptoms and an improved quality of life. It is important that people with borderline personality disorder receive evidence-based specialized treatment from an appropriately trained provider. Other types of treatment or treatment provided by a doctor or therapist who is not appropriately trained may not benefit the person. Many factors affect the length of time it takes for symptoms to improve once treatment begins. So it is important for people with borderline personality disorder and their loved ones to be patient and to receive appropriate support during treatment. A licensed mental health professional, such as a psychiatrist or a psychologist or clinical social worker, experienced in diagnosing and treating mental disorders, can diagnose borderline personality disorder by completing a thorough interview, including a discussion about symptoms, performing a careful and thorough medical exam, which can help rule out other possible causes of symptoms, asking about family medical histories, including any history of mental illness. Borderline personality disorder often occurs with other mental illnesses. Co-occurring disorders can make it harder to diagnose and treat borderline personality disorder, especially if symptoms of other illnesses overlap with the symptoms of BPD. For example, a person with BPD may be more likely to also experience symptoms of depression. They may experience bipolar disorder anxiety disorders, substance use disorders, or eating disorders. So when you have this overlapping and intertwining, it's really difficult to pinpoint how to identify what is going on and to treat it. But not impossible. And it is these treatments that, you know, it takes, you know, they say it takes a village. It really takes that patience. It really takes that perseverance to help that individual who is going through this, to help yourself if you're the one going through this. Because at the end of the day, it is not that you have to remain in this situation. You can climb out of it. You can get treated and get past it. And a part of that treatment involves your mindset and being mindful of what you're experiencing. So it involves that awareness, that being grounded, that focus of both you, the individual who's suffering, and those who are suffering with you, so that we can all help each other. This is Sandy McCullough working out with Kevin German. From the compilation Masterpiece, the TTM Collective, Closer I Get to You.
When all the while inside your spirit
take a moment and thank GMAC Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the broadcast.
So much more.
This is a segment that we call Musical Therapy. GMAC Music Solutions provides sound, light, and stage production services, musical equipment, bands, DJs, audio engineers, PA systems, musicians, singers, everything to bring your events to life. Give them a call, 754-307-GMAC. That's 754-307-4622. Or visit them at gmacmusicsolutions.com. You can also do your online shopping there. As we close out this night shift week on Musical Therapy to close out the week. This is Alba Rosie.
I bet you never had a youth like me to keep you happy, keep you wild and free. Until I give you this love, until I give you this love. I bet you never had a love like mine, something to treasure that's so hard to find. Until I give you this love, until I give you this love. Give you my heart, it's my pleasure, and you can keep it forever. And when you're in need the most, my melody shall keep you close. And I can sing you so many lullabies and keep you flying right through the sky. So let's burn and get high. I bet you never had a youth like me to keep you happy, keep you wild and free. Until I give you this love.
This is Alba Rosie.
I give you this love.
A track called Youth Like Me. Before that we heard from
Like mine, something to treasure that's so.
Sandy McCullough working out with Kevin German
Till I give you this love.
from TTM Collective compilation masterpiece, Inspirational Love Song.
Cool operator, Rasta cool like the weather. Let us build our castle with love. And when you have a hard day, not today, I same way. No leave your side, no criticize you. And when you think it's a struggle, Rasta will be there on the double, standing firm beside you. Just say yes. I bet you never had a youth like me to keep you happy, keep you wild and free. Until I give you this love, until I give you this love. I bet you never had a love like mine, something to treasure that's so hard to find. Until I give you this love, until I give you this love.
Show me just one true friend. So what happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time me mama did that one before.
This is the sound of Bingy Blaze.
True friend.
That's the title of the track right there.
Happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time the elders did that one before them. One multitude, a pure backstabber. Watch how you share your food, watch how you share your grabber. Them a working at the dark full time like robber. In a jam me put me trust and no other. In front of you them laugh, ha 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 ha. And behind your back them say murder, ah 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 ah. Thanks the revelation. Praises to Jah. That one you not go no further. Just one true friend. So what happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time the mama did that one before them. Show me just one true friend. So what happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time the elders did that one before them. When the truth was out, sometime it hurt. Can't believe but the same one when me operate from birth. One fit destroy me soul and kick me off at the earth. Me did hear and say a lie to blouse and skirt. When you have money, only for them come rate you. When you have no money, all your brother hate you. Them a complain about Judas, them a the same way too. That's why the general say him no Joseph, him no certain. Times. Just show me who is who in these times. Just show me who is true in these times. Just show me who is who. Just show me just one true friend. So what happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time me mama did that one before them. Show me just one true friend. So what happened yesterday cannot happen again. Show me just one true friend. Hey, a long time the elders did that one before them.
This is new music from another South Florida artist, Fiona, courtesy of J5 Music Production. Fiona's tribute to Miss Anita Baker. This is Caught Up in the Rapture.
Caught up in the rapture.
love peaceful and bliss. A black love full of chocolate kiss.
This is the sound of Caramanti.
Make we reminisce. Light your spliff.
It's called Black Love.
Tonight sex enough we target. Cause I've got something better. I swear to God I do. I've got a man that loves me and reads to me too. Him take me on a level, nothing left to do but confess that I love him, and that's the truth. He reads to me, he teaches me, that pleases me. Black love so sweet. He lays with me and plays with me, all day with me. Black love will be. Oh, are we connected through time and space? The love strong, stronger than the black race. A pure magic anytime we embrace. Me love your king, I will never embrace. The man go deep, deep in the bookcase. Stroke me body plus me mental space. Spiritually I have to elevate. Cause I've got something better. I swear to God I do. I've got a man that loves me and reads to me too. Him take me on a level, nothing left to do but confess that I love him, and that's the truth. He reads to me, he teaches me, that pleases me. Black love so sweet. He lays with me and plays with me, all day with me. Black love indeed. I miss enough of them a try. Announce love but a lie, them a lie. Them couple love but me want know why. Cause every other month I just fight them a fight. Before long one of them take flight. Quit the team cause the team never tight. Me heart goes out, that's not right. But not enough in me black life. Hey, yeah, a Caramanti. Black love, family.
Oh. Well, what you know, girl, you got the moves, you got the juice, you got the flavor, got the sauce, oh yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, just say the word and you know I'ma take you there.
This is King Charles.
Cause you need somebody remind you, and if you're feeling lost, I will find you.
The acoustic version.
I just wanna make you mine, so waste no time. Change your life. You and I will chase the skies, no limits. If you want to, you can be my queen, and I will be your king forever. If you want to, you can be my queen, and I will be your king forever. Oh, girl, you got the moves, you got the juice, you got the flavor, got the sauce, oh yeah. Anywhere you want to go, hello, what you know, oh. And if you need somebody to remind you, if you're feeling lost, I will find you. Oh, I just wanna make you mine, so waste no time. Change your life. You and I, yes, will chase the skies, no limit, yeah.
Smile like the stars that brightens up the night.
Oh, Kevin, you're so good. Music just turns
Eyes so deep, like the ocean so mysterious.
This is the son of Tennille.
Oh, you make me feel so
It's called Man, You're Beautiful.
Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all.
I know.
make every obstacle seem so small.
Tell me something else.
You bring joy and laughter. Could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? Then man, you're beautiful.
Thank you very much. Flattery will get you everywhere.
On a rainy day, you're like the hurricane that blows my cares away. You keep me guessing with every move you make. Everything about you makes my heart quake. 'Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter. Could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? And man, you're beautiful. Oh, 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 oh. What else can I say? And man, you're beautiful. Oh, 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 oh. What else can I say? A kaleidoscope of color. You are every force of nature, and you got me under your spell. Just like gravity, you pull me and can't get away. But I don't wanna be with nobody else. Oh. 'Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter. Could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? Then man, you're beautiful. What else can I say? What else can I say? You're beautiful. Oh, 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 oh. What else can I say? Man, you're beautiful. I'm so thankful, Lord. Yes, I am. Good Lord, you know the pains that we've been going
The son was Annette Brissett.
with all our friends we've had, and we once
It's called Love of Jah Abides.
It is on to every living one that you love. These are the days we're asking you for your blessings, Lord. The love of Jah abides forever. You never are enduring. And I will. Come on, this love abides. We never are enduring. Eye for eye. In life, we know there's lots of little ups and downs, and many of them even want us to play around as if we wear them up and you know what? Oh, but in this your time, we've got to learn to chant it down. Open up your heart, let the love of a Jah come shining through. The love of Jah abides forever. When you and I are enduring eye for eye was let it go now. The love of Jah abides forever. In you and I for I was let His love abide in you and I. In you and I. In this a little bit of life, as we know, there's lots of little ups and downs, and many of them even want us to play around as if we wear them up and them a clowns. But in this your time, we've got to learn how to chant it down and open up your heart. Let the love of a Jah come shining through it. The love of Jah abides forever. In you and I for I. Enduring eye for eye. This love of Jah abides
you feel? Can you feel it? Tingling.
So bad.
This is a dazzling one. Shauna Dazzle. It's called Everything. To guess who this one is.
Confidence, youth man, rise and take your stand. Just believe it that you can. Although the roads are rugged and rough, Nelson Mandela proved that we can. From a prisoner to a president, with faith and persistence, oh yes we can. Yeah. Sometimes it seems impossible. But we have to make this possible.
Alright, because I have to say my closing now. This is the sound of G-Mac. Believe it or not, yes, it's called Free Yourself. I want to thank you each and everyone for locking in. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for sharing with someone. My name is DJ Kevin Stewart, so I like to do it to you and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 to midnight. Right here, kevinstewart.com and affiliates. Just encouraging you to look out for members of your community. Your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Look out for one of them today, because you never know who's going to look out for you tomorrow.
Free your heart and free your thoughts. Free yourself from the negative talk, yeah. Let no one tell you that you can make it. Free your soul and free yourself.
As we go into the strong end, just be good. But if you can't be good, be good at it, yeah? Stick around for Shine It and DJ Butterfly coming up next. I said it last night and it didn't happen. But tonight it's gonna definitely happen, okay? Remember to catch all the shows, all the friends. So many broadcasts all over the place. Some on Reggae Global, some not. Some on other stations. Some on other platforms. Melissa Jane, G-Co, Lifestyles with DP. You can catch them all. I'm out of here until Monday, all being well, right after Real Rockers. This is DJ Kevin Stew signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you from anywhere you are in the world. From here in South Florida, good night. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.